welcome back to the Friend Zone. My name is Brienne and I'm your mindset mentor and motivator. What you feed your mind, your body begins to manifest and unfolds in your life. So what are you feeding yourself today? I'm very excited. I am a day late. I wish I could say it was intentional. It is not, however, it fed perfectly into the topics I'm wishing to discuss today. And I want to go over red flags, perception and perspective. But the red flags, most often people on the internet are looking at red flags when it comes to dating men. What flags do the gentlemen carry? However, I noticed there's a lot of male coaches out there revealing the secrets of guys, and I definitely want to reveal some of the secrets of the ladies as well, because women come with flags too. We're naive to believe that it's only one sex responsible for a lot of the problems or the imbalances in relationships in the modern day dating world, or in a relationship you're currently in. So what happens if we're both red flags? Let's talk about perception for a moment, you guys. So to different people, different things may be red flags. I don't like generalizing or throwing blanket terms or statements on things, but there are a lot of signs to look for in people that can absolutely present themselves as huge red flags. Now, in order to understand what a red flag is to you and how severe or drastic it is on a scale is all dependent upon your core values, your belief systems. What are you looking for in a person? How do you show up in a relationship of any kind? But as we're specifically talking about romantic partnerships more so today, how do you show up? Do you know some of the signs that you carry? Are you able to be self-aware enough to discover what your weaknesses may or may not be, where your wounds might be? Because we also want to make sure we're not turning our wounds into weapons, and oftentimes that's the case. Hurt people hurt people. So it's no wonder that throughout life you get jaded, you get scarred, you get scorned and burned, and you go through things. You might come out on the other end a little bit bitter, and it might manifest into other relationships. And a lot of times, unresolved traumas, that's exactly what happens. It'll be revealed by the relationships you're in. People are your mirror. So red flags, let's talk about them. In women, in dating, one of the first huge red flags, stonewalling. What is stonewalling? I'm sure you've all encountered it. As a woman in the dating world, I've encountered it from men, and I'm sure men, you've encountered it from women as well. Stonewalling is exactly like it sounds. Shut off, guarded, completely shut down, cutting you out on full-on avoidance mode. If this is somebody's MO, their motivating operation, if this is how somebody deals with conflict in their life, they shut down, they turn off, they don't address it, they just go completely cold, they won't talk about it with you. That is never a good sign. That's a sign that they have a lot of things going on. They have a lot of insecurities that they haven't addressed on their own, and maybe they're lacking in the department of emotional intelligence. And that's not an insult. To be emotionally intelligent, you've got to be very self-aware. You have to know how you're giving, how you're receiving, and not just understanding and being in control of your emotions or being able to be accountable for them. So that'll take me from stonewalling into my next one, communication. Communication and the tendencies. Are you someone, or is she someone that deals with conflict or runs? It's along the same lines as the stonewalling. Is she going to sit down and talk about things that are bothering her, or is she going to run, escape, and avoid? That is huge. No problem is ever going to be resolved in a relationship with somebody like this. If their communication style does not match yours, it's going to be a clash every single time. There's likely going to be one person drawing towards and one person pulling away, and the one drawing towards that has an open communication style that likes to resolve conflict, that's not scared of confrontation or having deep discussions, is always going to be chasing. The other one's going to be running. And that's going to exhaust both parties. Eventually the one chasing is going to give up, and the one running is just going to run away and get exhausted. It's not a good combination, and that's something that you definitely want to look out for. What is your communication style? How do you love to resolve problems? And does this person have a tendency to run? Because also what's going to happen is there's going to be pent-up tension and anger and unresolved issues that are never going to get addressed, because when they come back around, what it looks like is they come back as if nothing ever happened and everything gets swept under the rug. Well, if you keep sweeping under the rug, eventually that rug's going to have a big, huge bump and it's going to burst and explode and come out of the edges. Am I right? So you want to make sure that this person has an open communication style. Now, let's talk about Flakeopolis. Red flag number 3. Commitment issues. Flaking. Does this person have a tendency to say they're going to do something and not follow through? Are they the gonna people? I'm gonna, but they never actually do? Time to put your money where your mouth is. Ladies, if they're flaking a lot, you want to be wary because they're not committed to themselves, and that means they're likely not committed to you. You're not important enough on their radar. Flakiness like that, non-committal people can show up in multiple different ways, but it's not giving you what you deserve. You are not something on their list they're purposely, intentionally making time for. Now, again, I'm not trying to come at or cut down these women. There's multitudes of reasons that this could go on. There's lots of different triggers and traumas they could have in their past, or they could just be scattered in their life and where they're at and not committing to themselves, because oftentimes what happens on the inside manifests on the outside. So if you're not showing up for yourself, you might be attracting people that aren't showing up either. And that's what happens with some of these ladies. Maybe they're flaking on themselves in life. They can't commit to themselves. They don't know what they want. So then they flake on everybody else. And it's a red flag. What are they doing in their relationships with their family? How are they showing up for their family members? How are they showing up for their children, their brothers, their sisters? What are they like with their work ethic? Do they show up? Do they call in sick? Do they put an honest effort in, or do they flake out there too? How do they show up in their friendships? With other men? With other women? What does that look like? If they're flaking on you now, then they're not fully committed and into the relationship. They don't always know what they want, and sometimes that leads to easy come, easy go. And that's going to take us into red flag number 4. I talked about relationships with women. If women don't have any solid friendships with other women, that's another huge red flag. I mean, in the teenage years, you hear it all the time. Girls are like, oh my gosh, I don't get along with guys, or I don't get along with girls. I only get along with guys. I grew up with all guys. I get it. I've been there, and I'm saying all of us are guilty of some of these red flags. We've had them in the past. When I was a teenager, I had some girlfriends, but I just naturally got along better with guys. But guess what? I have some of the best women friends I've had for years and years and years, as you know, you grow up and all that fun stuff. If a woman can't get along with another woman, that is a huge red flag. A lot of times it has to do with deep down insecurities. This is where envy and jealousy is. This is where comparisonitis, keeping up with the Joneses. It's a lot of juvenile and immature behavior is honestly manifested in women who don't get along with other women because they see it as a competition, or they'll hang around women that they perceive as less valuable than them and take advantage and walk all over them because they want to make themselves feel better for whatever reason and whatever they've grown up in life. Mean Girls. Just take a look at the dynamics there and how it became dog eat dog and competition and all that fun stuff, right? So if a woman says that she doesn't have any good female friends and she only gets along with guys or mostly hangs out with guys, that's a huge red flag to watch out for, because if there's jealousy among females, there's going to be jealousy and insecurity in the relationships, and false accusations can happen, and that causes a lot of turmoil in those romantic relationships. So red flag number 5. The unfaithful one. Now, they say a leopard never changes its spots, and I do believe this to be true. So when it comes down to how did the relationship start? Did it start by cheating? Was there any adultery, non-committal issues? Have they had cheating in their past or in their history? Did your relationship start off because you two were having an affair together? If a woman is able to cheat with you, she's able to cheat on you. And I'm just trying to help you out, guys. I want you to see the signs. How do you know? What is this woman like? Do you constantly see guys' names blowing up on her phone? Does she turn her phone over and put it face down when you're talking? Does she constantly have it on silent? Does she turn it if you're sitting on the couch or nearby? Does she leave the room to take calls or messages? Does she act fishy? Is she up late at night? Does her phone nonstop go off? Is her social media incongruent with what she says she's doing on the weekend? If this is somebody that's constantly posting nonstop, all over social media all the time, and then magically disappears or goes quiet and she says she's out with her friends, I'm telling you, gentlemen, huge red flag. She's not where she says she's going to be. Look for consistencies in behaviors. These are huge, huge red flags. You are not the only one. Likely not the only one. I can't say 1,000%, but these are just some signs to watch out for just to see. I'm going to go with a bonus flag. Number 6, the guilt trip. Let's play the guilt trip, the martyr, and the victim mentality. Huge, huge. You want to run clear of someone who has an MO of guilting people, making them feel bad for them on purpose, trying to gain attention. Actually, you know what? We're gonna do a little more flags. We're just gonna keep rolling. But somebody that uses the guilt complex to get what they want, that's a form of manipulation. Playing on someone's feelings. Kicking them when they're down and making you feel sorry for them when it's not a reason to actually feel sorry. There's a huge difference between seeking compassion and a woman communicating with you if something feels bad, and a difference between hitting you with the guilt. And I know you've been in that position before, gentlemen. I 100% know. I've definitely been there as a woman too. Guilt complex can be huge. As one of my friends says, guilt is a wasted emotion, which I completely agree. But you want to be wary of somebody that says that, because that means oftentimes they can't take accountability for their own behavior, which is what I'm moving into for red flag number 7, accountability. Does this woman have the ability to admit when she's wrong? We are wrong sometimes. Yes, you heard it here first. Write it down. November 5th, 2021. Or is it the 6th? Anywho, you heard it here first. We can be wrong. And if a woman can't admit she's wrong or apologize for what she's done, especially when she knows in it, she had a part in it, oftentimes things take two. But you know what? Sometimes you're just fully wrong. Is she able to admit to it? Can she own up? Can she admit when she's made a mistake and genuinely change it? And remember, the best apologies change behavior, not repeating it. The second time you repeat something, it's no longer a mistake, it's a choice. And that choice is showing a lack of respect for the people around you. You don't respect the people that you're not taking accountability for. Does she take accountability within her own family, within her friends, within you? If that's somebody that can't take accountability, that's someone that's, again, just avoiding. You're always going to be in the wrong no matter what you do. Do you also notice this person picking fights with you? Do they get defensive when mistakes are pointed out? If you're trying to address a situation or a problem with her, does she yell? Does she start a fight? Does she break down and cry? That's manipulating and guilting sometimes. Does she just turn the tables around on you all the time? Will she pick fights for no reason? Will she avoid or change the subject? Will she come up with a crazy elaborate story or scapegoat and blame one of her friends for it and use her friends as a fill-in character in her tale that she's telling? If a woman can't take accountability for what she's done wrong, she is not honest with herself. And that means she's not always going to be honest with you either. And that's going to cause a lot of strife in relationships, because you're not going to feel heard, you're not going to feel safe, you're not going to feel understood if something genuinely hurt or upset you that wasn't your fault. These are huge communication barriers that you definitely need to be aware of. So those are the flags I have for you. Hope you liked it. Hit me up in the comments section. Let me know what you want to hear more. And just remember, everybody's perspective is different. And if you meet someone that has, one flag, or a flag that's, it's not high on your perceptive scale of being detrimental to the relationship, 1 or 2 flags, okay, if it's not something that goes against your beliefs and values. But if you see someone with 3, 4, 5, 6 flags, no, just duck and run. We don't want to be in the Communist Party of China having more red flags in a Chinese parade, okay? You don't want to be leading the soccer team in red cards, okay? So if you got one, she's got one, maybe there's 2, it's okay. That can be worked through potentially, as long as it's not something that goes against your core values, beliefs. Oh, before we sign off, getting into that core values, beliefs, and all those fun things, I just want to remind you guys, something that can really help in those relationships, communication styles, and to make sure you're giving and receiving in ways that means the most to you for the person that you are. Take the 5 love languages test at number 5, lovelanguages.com. It's quick, it's easy to do, and it breaks it down into 5 categories of the top things that mean the most to you in relationships and how you connect and communicate, what you love to receive from your partner. And this is going to help you guys understand each other more. If styles are different, then you're not understanding your partner and you're not giving them based on what their needs are and what makes them feel good. You're giving based on your own love languages. So it's so important to understand how each of you respond to giving and receiving love. The 5 categories are quality time, words of affirmation, physical touch, acts of service, and receiving gifts. So, of course, quality time, self-explanatory. It's when spending time with your loved one means the most to you. And that's my top one. That's my primary. And then the next one is words of affirmation. That's just like hearing wonderful things, like you're so beautiful. I really love being around you. You make me smile, or accolades, like I'm so proud of you for XYZ. Words of affirmation that really encourage your partner. That one's high up there for me. It ties with the third, which is physical touch. So that's just, sharing a beautiful long hug or just holding each other or like rubbing each other's arms or back massages or just, kissing, all of it. Just being physical and intimate, even with the person that you love. So physical touch, that's number 3. And then the receiving gifts and acts of service. So acts of service is just doing something to be helpful for the one that you love. Like perhaps they have a project on the go that they need to get done, or a big task, or cleaning the house, or fixing a tire, anything like that. So acts of service, and then receiving gifts. Some people don't like to receive gifts as much, and that's not a way to their heart. For me, that's at the bottom of the list. For me, receiving gifts isn't huge. So if a guy's, a guy in my life, for example, is going to just give gifts, yeah, of course I appreciate it. It's beautiful and lovely, but that's not my love language. It doesn't connect with me deeply and have as much meaning as some of the other ones would. So it's so important, men, women, both do it and see how you and your partner or your future crush or whoever it might be in your life, even your own husband or wife, see how they connect, see if they're congruent, and just flirt with it a little bit and see how learning each other's love languages helps spice up the connection between the two of you. I hope you all had a great day. I can't wait, and make sure you hit the notification bell. Like, share, comment, and subscribe. Let's keep the channel alive. We'll hit you up next week on more of the Friend Zone.